Hello, members of the UND campus community. Thanks for tuning in today. I see people are still filing into the online room here. So we're up to about 235 participants, and I think it'll keep going up. But I want to start today by thanking everybody for your exceptional preparation to get the fall semester started. It's now underway. We have so many people on our campus. I think I'm allowed to, I don't know, Eric Link, give me a thumbs up somewhere if I can talk about our first day numbers. Okay, good. Here we go. So our first day numbers, which will continue to rise before we get the official count on Census Day. So that's about 4 weeks away. The official first day numbers are 15,440. And this is higher than our all-time record, which was in the fall of 2012, where we were at 15,250. So this is well above that number and will continue to rise over the next 4 weeks. So this is really good news. And I thank you all for making the preparations. For everybody who readied the campus for their arrival, thank you for your efforts. Our marketing and communications, enrollment services, admissions, facilities, our UPD, everybody who's involved in the welcoming of these new students, thank you for everything that you've done. And to all of our faculty members, the preparation that you've undertaken to get ready for the launch of courses is exceptional as well. So thanks to the entire campus for all of your hard work. Our freshman class as well, the all-time high was at 2,360. And from what Eric told me, 300 new first-year students above that all-time high. So again, it's a great growth trajectory, but we need to make sure that we're still fulfilling the beauty of a UND education and an experience on our campus, even with those increased numbers. So thanks in advance for all the work that you're going to do this fall. Last week, I gave the State of the University address and talked the successes that we've had, the enrollment increases, all of the great work that's happening across the campus, examples of the great success, our contributions on research, creativity, and innovation, just a tremendous set of activities going on the campus. And I also cast a vision forward for where we're going, focusing on several areas, but continuing the commitment to our community on campus. Announced that the word of the year this is community, how we bind together, how we create that warm sense of community, how we support one another, how we keep advancing UND's interests both on our campus and off our campus, and how we do so with a close personal touch and a commitment to one another. So community is the word of the year. I look forward to helping create and celebrate a strong sense of community among each and every one of us. In addition, I talked about a couple of what I called moonshots, some big ideas about how we can bind together as a campus to create something special. The first is on artificial intelligence and all the work that's happening across departments, whether it's in computer science and engineering, whether it's our work in medicine, or our work in the humanities and social sciences, and looking at the philosophical and the very human elements of AI. We as a university are in an exceptional position to make an impact on the state of North Dakota and beyond about the innovation that's happening within AI, but most importantly, keeping humanity at the center of what we do. And so that interplay between humanity and the technological advancement is one that we have to keep examining and actually leading on. And then in addition, we talked about how to create a campus-wide sense of innovation and entrepreneurship and a spirit of creativity and discovery, and how that needs to find its way into every nook and cranny of our campus. And so I use the term innovation everywhere all at once to kind of take a title from a recent movie. But how do we look for those opportunities to celebrate the innovative spirit that exists on our campus? And then when anyone sets foot on the UND campus, they should be overcome with that sense of wonder, that sense of discovery, that sense of innovation that we're known for. But it should pervade our campus, and finding ways to do that even better than we already do it is another area of focus this year. So with that, that's the foundation for the upcoming year. Let me now, we're going to turn into the question and answer period of today's session, I'll turn it over to Vice President for Marketing and Communications, Melanie Linder, who's going to walk us through the questions that have come in and the ones that come in live real time today. So Melanie, great to see you. Thanks for joining us, and I'll turn it over to you.
Great. Thank you, President Armacost. So I'm going to kick it off with questions that were submitted to us in advance from our staff and you Senate. And while we're answering those questions, if you would just type in your questions into the Q&A, we will just get through all the questions that we can in the time that we have. So I'm going to start with the first question is going to go to AVP Varberg. So Peggy, if you would be able to talk about the timeline for the implementation for salary and staff positions, the data reconciliation and validation that is currently underway, and once it's completed, what will happen with that?
Thank you, Melanie. I would be happy to talk about that. So we're seeing a lot of traction in the Huron project now. As Vice President Linder suggested, we are now in the financial review and data reconciliation phase. And that encompasses Vice President for Finance and Operations, Carla Stewart, and my team, the compensation and divisional HR leaders are working on that together. Once that's finished, we will then share again with the vice presidents and the deans and their leadership teams this data again for further discussion, which will include their divisional HR leader and the comp team. Out of that, the final draft will come. And at that point, the president and EC will review options to support the finances of the project, as well as finalizing the timing of the rollout. So EC members, as they've gone through their final data and we've solidified that, will make recommendations to the president in the near future regarding timing. But adjustments that may come, this is always the tricky part, right? The adjustments that may be warranted when we're finished will be planned over the next 3 years. So this is something we've talked about. This is a 5-year project. We just finished the 2nd year. And so now we'll be making those adjustments and have a training plan, all those good things. Some of the other questions that have come to us continually is, are these any adjustments that are made, are they retroactive? No, they're not. And any folks whose markets may have gone sort of on a downward trend, will they lose salary? No, they will not. So we feel good about where we are. We've had great conversations across the university about the data that's been coming out. We're excited for this to come to a level of conclusion so we can move forward and make adjustments where appropriate. And again, as President Armacost discussed in the State of the University, really provide a good structure for folks to specifically staff in their job architecture to look at potential for growth and other opportunities within the university.
Melanie, let me just jump in and thank Peggy and her team for exceptional work. I know Peggy's to get the word out as soon as possible. And we're just working through all the final data to make sure that we've got it right and that the architecture that we put out supports each and every one of you, and that we do things fairly and consistently across the campus. So thanks, Peggy, for your great work.
All right. And Peggy, I have another question for you. So if you'll just stay on for another second. Is there any kind of standard onboarding for new employees ensuring that they have a smooth transition as they start UND?
Yes, thank you. Again, super excited to talk about this. This really collides and collaborates with President Armacost's vision of community over the next year. In the last year, we've been developing an initiative out of the Office of Human Resources called, for benefited staff, called The Great Start, which is new staff orientation. And we will be starting with our first session next month in September 17th with a half-a-day orientation for the new staff that have been hired over the last month. And then we'll walk them forward for the next 5 months. So during their 6-month probation, with lots of sharing of resources. We're going to meet with them once a month for an hour. Walking forward, we're going to do some high touch communication between their divisional HR leaders, with them, with their supervisors, to really help them integrate into the UND community and feel a part of it, and feel welcomed, feel excited, validate the reason that they made the choice to come to UND and be a part of this community. So really great new initiative. Really want to help them thrive as new members of the community of UND. So more information. We did share some information this morning to supervisors about some expectations going forward, what to look for, and we'll be sharing more information here in the next week or so.
Outstanding. Thanks, Peggy.
Thank
The
you.
next question is going to go to AVP Kivin. Matt, what are the plans for the various areas on campus that have had buildings torn down in the recent year? This question specifically asks about the former Walsh Quad and Columbia Hall.
Thank you, Vice President Linder. I am not aware of any immediate plans for the Walsh Quad site. However, we will begin the master planning process for the campus this fall. As such, we will evaluate what may be best suited to be located on that site. And then as it relates to Columbia Hall, it remains occupied through the end of the school year and probably a little bit into the summer. At which point we haven't finally determined what will take its place. Potentially a parking lot has been the discussion, but hasn't been finalized. And again, that will also be evaluated in the master planning process.
Excellent. And if you'll stay on, I have another question for you as well. And that is, are there any more specific updates of when the Columbia Bridge will be reopened and if it will be impacted by the demolition of Hislop?
Yes, great question. It is anticipated that the Columbia overpass will reopen somewhere between this week and September 15th. And as a reminder, it's a city project, so we're getting our updates. Facilities is getting updates from the city on that time frame. As it relates to the demolition of the Hislop, we planned the haul route for demolition purposes without knowing that we would be closing Columbia. So we don't foresee an impact as a result of the reopening of the Columbia overpass.
Excellent, thank you. And I have one more question. I'll start with you, and then Vice President Malloy may also have some comments. But to start, what's the status of some of the older buildings that have been vacated or mostly vacated, including Johnstone, Fulton, Smith, Columbia Hall, and Gamble Hall?
Right, I'll speak to Columbia and Gamble. Again, Columbia is still occupied, but we are working to relocate the occupants of Columbia to Gamble Hall. Therefore, over the course of this year, we will be renovating largely cosmetic upgrades to Gamble Hall for those occupants from Columbia to be relocated to that facility. Let's see. Those occupants will also occupy Twomley and the bookstore. The A&S Dean Suite will be located in Twomley, and biomedical engineering will be relocated to the existing bookstore.
Excellent, thank you. Vice President Malloy, anything you'd like to add regarding Johnstone, Fulton, Smith?
Absolutely. I can say that Johnstone, Fulton, Smith, we certainly have plans for those. Fulton is already basically offline and is scheduled to be taken down. Instead of taking it down now, we believe that the best time to take it down would be to take that down when we decide that Johnstone and Smith will also go down. I can tell you now that Johnstone and Smith now have students in them. We have 2,500 students on campus. So we still need those residence halls to support our students. When we get to the point where we don't have the demand for housing that we currently see, then we will make other plans for those. Eventually, we do anticipate that Johnstone, Fulton, and Smith will go down, but but not anytime soon.
Thank you. The next question, I'm going to turn over to President Armacost. President Armacost, what affiliations does UND have or planning to have with some of the newer facilities that are being built around Grand Forks, such as the Altru Sports and Aquatics Complex and the Children's Museum?
That's a great question, whoever submitted it. And I think those projects represent something truly remarkable for our community. The sports and aquatic facility is a great indoor place for youth sports, for adult sports, but also for our campus community. At this point, the only formal connection right now with the Aquatic Center is that the Odegaard School of Aerospace Sciences has a partnership and agreement with the new facility to do essentially simulated zero gravity training in the depths of the pool, kind of like astronauts do. And so it's a great opportunity for both training and research within the school of the Odegaard School and also the Department of Space Studies. So that's the one formal relationship. With the Children's Museum, a number of our academic departments have created relationships sponsoring or helping to develop displays at the Children's Museum. But I think the question might also be saying, will we have free memberships to any of these facilities? All of the agreements about how we use the facilities and what we pay, those will be worked out. Certainly our clubs, such as the swim club and ROTC, for example, who are common users of the Hislop pool, will need to have a place to continue to do those types of trainings. And so for sure, there'll be some agreements that we have to construct with the new Aquatic Center for that. As far as individual memberships, we don't know what the pricing strategy is going to be or if there's any special discounts that will be afforded to UND employees or students. But those conversations will happen over the next 2 years. So thanks.
Excellent, thank you. All right, I'm moving on to the questions that have been submitted since we've been online. The first question is regarding parking. So I'm going to turn that over to Jennifer Duffy. Jennifer, as an employee who purchased a special reserve permit but is not a director or president, Parking Services notified me that I am ineligible for the permit because I do not hold a director or president title. Given recent increases, special reserve parking permits have a disappropriate pricing increase strategy compared to standard employee permits. Now that the permits are restricted by title, it means that this discount only applies to UND's higher paid leaders. The disparity between the lesser paid employees and leadership also increases with higher leadership salaries due to the concrete pricing of the parking passes. Can you explain how these decisions align with UND's strategic plan core values around equity?
Sure. Just to talk a little bit about the reserve permit. So prior to last academic year, the reserve spaces were limited to department heads, deans, and administrators. Last year, we changed a few of the lots from employee to student employee because of the additional students on campus. And so the decision was made to open up reserved spaces to all employees. That was intended to be kind of a short-term fix to kind of help deal with the I guess combined or the shared employee student lots that we had. And so traditionally, I think we had around 30 reserve spaces. Last year, we were over 70. And so with the new resident hall lot and then the commuter students then having the majority of Chesterfield's auditorium lot available, we were going back to that reserved spaces were limited to department heads and above. I was made aware of a few concerns that were brought forward yesterday and I believe late last week. And so we are discussing those with leadership and we'll be following up with the people that have reached out on how we should best address it and go from there. So if you have requested it, please reach out. We'll be in contact with you. If you haven't requested one and you are interested in one, please reach out and we will try to accommodate as best we can and then come up with a clear plan and process on how that is determined. And so that we are inclusive, I guess, of everyone, but also we have to take into mind the capacity of our lots and how many reserve spaces we can have in the various spaces on campus.
Thank you. The next question I'm going to turn over to Provost Link. Provost Link, in light of the new PTR policy, What actual benefits do full professors and associate professors bring? If there are no tangible benefits, can we request demotions to assistant professor and thus avoid the PTR process?
Vice President Linder, thank you so much. And hello, everyone, and welcome to the start of another great year here at UND. Thanks for the question. We have been engaged in various forms of post-tenure review at the University of North Dakota for many, many years. Some of the schools and colleges, some of the departments across campus, as many of you know, have held 3-year post-tenure reviews or other kinds of longitudinal views on faculty success for quite some time. What's new is we now have an institutional policy and an institutional commitment to make sure that all tenured faculty have access to a post-tenure review process. A meaningful post-tenure review process does a number of really beneficial things, at least it can. It can provide a longitudinal assessment of faculty achievement and effort. It can provide a kind of layered and meaningful analysis of faculty accomplishments within a shared governance context. And when appropriate, it can provide pathways for ongoing professional development for faculty. So the question as proposed, what benefits do associate and tenured full professors bring to the university? I'm not entirely certain how to answer that. At face value, I would say they bring a great deal of value to our university. Well, I think one of the strengths of our university is our professoriate, regardless of rank, title, full-time, part-time. We're incredibly proud of all the people who provide instruction and opportunities for students and do great research here at the university. The idea that we would ask 260 or so tenured associate and full professors to abandon tenure in order to avoid a post-tenure review policy, we would not encourage that at the University of North Dakota. Thanks for the question.
Thank you so much. The next question is going to go to AVP Varberg again. Once again, the dreaded question about staff being allowed to work from home. There are certainly people who take extreme advantage of no oversight of their work hours and actual behavior while at home, such as caring for children, doing laundry, taking walks, etc. How can there be a level playing field to ensure the expectations of earning your salary by doing the work assigned to you and being accessible to your audience, faculty, staff, students are met? I'm asking this as a coworker and a taxpayer. If the legislature is so concerned about higher ed and our work production, there should be some accountability for them and within ourselves.
Thank you. Great question. Remote is always a challenging conversation, right? It works well in some areas. It doesn't work well in some areas. But we do monitor these, and we do work with supervisors in different areas where there are potential issues with whether a person is completing all their work, is available, those kinds of things. We do have those discussions. Additionally, it's also part of their evaluation process. So that discussion is held between them and their supervisor when they go through evaluations every year to find out if it's working well, if there needs to be alternatives looked at, the whole spiel. But it's something, remote work and hybrid work, those are things that we consistently look at and refine and work on, because they're all opportunities for flexibility where appropriate. But yes, it's always action and work in progress there. So I appreciate the feedback, but know that it is paid attention to.
Thank you so much. The next question, I'm going to start with Dr. Bailey, and I am sure President Armacost will probably have some comments as well. But Dr. Bailey, how is UND going to maintain and continue to prioritize our commitment to DEI?
Thank you, Vice President Linder. Good day, everyone. We continue to value our diverse community as it relates to our people, our perspectives, our ideas here. We continue to support inclusive experiences here at the campus and really try to promote fairness. And I think an equitable environment, I think that's really important for us here. So what does that mean for us? I think one, we continue to follow the rule of law, and we've continued to do that. And I think we've done that in the past, and we continue to do that in the future. And we see our programs are continuing to grow, whether it's with students working with student disability resources, veteran and military services, our Pride Center, the Hilliard Center, the Indigenous Student Center. We're continuing to do this work. TRIO, we're continuing to do this work across campus. So the commitment is there. We see the commitment from our administrators. We see commitment in terms of faculty doing research, different colleges and schools doing great work. So the commitment is there. We are aware of what's happening, and whether it's state law, whether it's executive order and federal law, and how that continues to impact the work that we do. But we're moving forward. And as President Armacost said, our word of the year is community. And we believe that community and belonging. So how do we come together as a community? How do we value our community? As President Armacost has said, how do we value our people? And what does it mean for us on campus? So I think that's what we're doing. We will continue to do that work. You'll continue to see programs and services from these various areas. So we continue to do that work. Our UCC, University Counseling Center. So we're continuing to do this work. My hope is that people are getting engaged and looking for ways to stay engaged.
I don't know that I could say it much better than what Tambaqui just said, but the essence of DEI is the creation of community where we all come together at this and understand one and appreciate each other. And it's interesting, all of the EOs, the executive orders and the memos, the federal memos, have been pretty careful to say that the term DEI or any of the elements, diversity, equity, or inclusion, in and of themselves aren't necessarily a sign of a violation of a law, but rather it's the actions of a university that will be judged to be either discriminatory or not. So we have to be careful when we use the words DEI, what does it mean for us? And as Tambaqui said so eloquently, it's about community, it's about bringing people together. It's not about dividing, it's not about discrimination. And so we have to keep that at the forefront of the conversations this year. I will abide by every law, federal and state, that's put before us. We have a great team of lawyers on campus who make sure that our actions as a campus are non-discriminatory and that we're supporting all students. But again, it's about pulling people together, not dividing them apart. And Tambaqui mentioned the programs and the events that are offered on campus. Every event that we offer is open to everyone. And we have to emphasize that. And the way we learn about each other is participating in each of these events and programs. Thanks.
Thank you both so much. The next question, I'm going to turn over to Provost Link. Provost Link, what are the updates on the various dean searches across campus?
Yeah, thanks for the question. We have 3 active dean searches right now, the law school, the School of Graduate Studies, and the Nistler College of Business. They are all in various stages of implementation, those searches. The law school is the most advanced. That search started in the spring. The candidate pool was built largely over the summer. And I know that now that the faculty are back and the fall semester has begun, that the search committee is convening very soon, perhaps has done so already. I believe they are conducting initial interviews in the next week or so. And I fully expect we will see finalists on campus either by the end of September or early October. I don't want to pin an exact date on that, but I think that's roughly where we're at with the law school dean search. For the Nistler College of Business and Public Administration, we have interim leadership in Dean O'Neill in place. I am actually holding a town hall with the Nistler College tomorrow. So anyone listening today in Nistler, if you didn't realize, we have a town hall tomorrow afternoon. I look forward to seeing you. And we'll be going over the charging document and the process for the national search for the next dean of the Nistler College of Business and Public Administration. And we are roughly at a similar place with the School of Graduate Studies. For both the School of Graduate Studies and NISLR, we have identified and secured the gracious service of chairs. Dean Bob Kraus will be chairing the NISLR College of Business Search, and Dean Rebecca Bickle will be chairing the graduate school search. We have also engaged with executive search firms for both of those search firms. So we are off and running. In the next couple weeks, give or take, we will be filling out the seats on the search committees for both of those searches and beginning that work. So stay tuned for more developments, but all those searches are underway.
Thank you so much. The next question I'm going to turn over to Vice President Snyder. Vice President Snyder, what effects will the recent Bondi memo have at UND, and what do we need to do in response to the memo?
Yeah, thank you very much, Vice President Linder. And the way that I interpret reviewing that Bondi, the so-called Bondi memo, it's really a codification of the executive order that came out earlier and that the president and Dr. Bailey were talking about a little bit ago, that talked about the approaches to DEI that the federal government is taking. And so I think that everything that the president and Dr. Bailey mentioned in their comments is essentially the same as the response to the Bondi memo will be.
Thank you. The next question I'm going to turn over to Vice President Malloy. Vice President Malloy, the Pepsi company drink vending machines on campus are gone and aren't being refilled. Does the university have any say on exactly what ends up in the Coke company vending machines, or is that decided by the company that fills?
Thank you, Melanie. That's a good question. One, the Pepsi, those machines are gone because we went through a process and Coca-Cola prevailed in the process, and it was basically because Pepsi bowed out. So if there are things that you would like to see in those Coke machines that are Coke products, please just send an email to Orlin Rasassin, who handles all of the vending. And I think that's it.
Thank you so much. The next question, I'm going to start with AVP Varberg. Is UND concerned about the amount of turnover in administrative, college leadership, and the direct student contact personnel, such as advisors? And if so, what are the plans to address them?
Yes, I know there are a lot of discussions happening regarding advisors and so forth, what the model looks like, all the things. So gathering information, I know Vice Provost Karen Plum has been reviewing that, has been working with our Director of Human Resources for Academic Affairs, Becca Berge. So that work has been going on. As far as college leadership, I would welcome Dr. Link, Provost Link, to have tap in here if he wishes. We do know that in positions such as this, there's natural progression. Folks naturally leave sometimes after a certain period of time. In my world, as we look at statistics, deans sometimes are around for 5 years and then maybe move on because they may aspire to be a provost or something of that kin. So Provost Link, if you have anything to add here, that'd be great.
Yeah, Peggy, thank you. I can't state really anything that hasn't already been stated, other than we are always concerned when talented members of our community, in whatever position they may be, from senior administration, faculty, staff, whatever role, we really want to have an environment here on campus that is attractive, that helps us retain qualified faculty, staff, and administration. and so that everyone can continue to contribute to the success we're having at an institution. As Peggy said, despite those desires, individuals sometimes have an opportunity, and they choose to pursue an opportunity. And we often try to retain our talented individuals as best we can, but we also understand that by the arc of people's careers, sometimes opportunity comes knocking, and they have to pursue it. So there we go. Thank you, Peggy. Thank you, Vice President Linder.
Thank you both. Peggy, the next question I'm going to turn over to you as well. The question is, when do staff get to do a 360 review of those at the vice president or director level? No one ever asks us what we think of our supervisors. So how do their supervisors have any idea outside of the biased view they get from the director or VP themselves?
Yep, that's a great question. That's a discussion that actually the president and I have had a little bit over the course of the last few months. And it's now on our roadmap, if you will, in the Office of Human Resources to develop some level or begin the framework of an executive leadership 360 evaluation program. We do have some areas that do provide 360, and that's always an opportunity that leadership can provide to employees and staff faculty if they want to do that. Right now, it's not a formal process. It's not a required process, except in certain areas. However, that's a great question, and it is something that's on our dashboard.
Yeah, I'll since it's about the vice presidents who work for me, and I know many of them are on here, so I won't go into too much detail, but deans, for example, receive when they're at the third year of their contract, receive a 360. The president, I receive a 360 as well. So it's a good observation that you make, and one that, as Peggy indicated, that she and I have had some very initial discussions about how to do this. Your feedback matters to the operation of the university. It makes us all better, and even when, if you were to complain about me, and that's great, I would learn something from that complaint, and I would incorporate it and try to do better in the work that I do. And I know that's the spirit of what we would intend to have in such a system. In addition, there's just broader feedback as well that we have to make sure that we're hearing and listening to all members of the campus. So not just I have to evaluate somebody, but maybe somebody has a great idea, the next great idea. What mechanisms do we put in place where people can say, I have a suggestion. I've got a really cool idea that I think would make the sense of community stronger, or the sense of wonder stronger on the campus. So these are areas that we'll be looking at through this year. Thank you.
Thank you so much to both of you. The next question, I'm going to turn back to Jennifer Duffy. Jennifer, will we be assessing the use of the student reserve parking lot near the boardroom coffee shop on campus? If it continues to be half empty, will we consider opening some of the lots for general employees? The coffee shop is commonly used by people from all across campus, but cannot be easily accessed now when your regular office space and parking availability are coming from the far reaches of campus.
So yes, we will be conducting lot counts and reviewing utilization after the first couple of weeks once things settle down a little bit. However, with that, since that lot is designated as a student reserved lot, and we have a number of students on the wait list still, we're really not at a point where we could consider allowing employee permits in that lot. We need to first work through the student wait list and have a good understanding of the lot utilization throughout the day before we could really consider it further.
Thank you. The next question is actually for you as well, so if you don't mind staying on. With many in a hybrid work arrangement, they're wondering if Parking Services is considering implementing a permit option tailored to employees who are only on campus part-time. At present, the available choices are either full-time permit or hourly or daily parking.
We aren't currently considering it. It has been discussed, and there's been different concerns that sense of remote work is not, or hybrid work isn't available for all employees. There's been some questions on whether fairness and different things. So at this point, we're not considering it. doesn't mean it would be considered in the future, but right now, yes, it's the employee permit. There's an economy lot permit or the pay-as-you-go parking.
Thank you. Next question is for AVP Varberg again. Research in vocational psychology demonstrates that many employees can be just as productive at home, if even not more efficient when working remotely, than people at workplace offices who may get distracted by conversations. Has this been taken into consideration in relation to considering remote work? There are remote workers at UND who have won numerous awards and continue to be nominated for them repeatedly. Has leadership taken this evidence into consideration, and have they reviewed the vocational psychology literature in this area demonstrating success in this?
Thank you. I can't say that I've actually reviewed the literature, but I am well versed in it, because in our world, when we work with College University Personnel Association, HR Association, or Society of Human Resource Management Association, that data comes to us frequently. And I agree. There are positions and people who do much better in an environment that's away from campus, less intrusion, focus better. It's just there are people who working in an office or a busy space, it doesn't work well for them. So those are considerations that we absolutely look at. Additionally, when thinking about remote, one of the things that we found to be super helpful for us are some of those positions that are very difficult to recruit for. And we've been able to find good candidates who may not live right here in Grand Forks, or even North Dakota, but in a position where we can make it work, have a remote employee, and then get that great position filled with a great employee. And so that's been really helpful for us in some areas where a person can fill this gap for us and do it very well, but they live somewhere else. And so if we can make that work, we will. But again, every request for a remote, 100% remote or even hybrid is reviewed with lots of different eyes. Again, I welcome that feedback from folks, and we do listen to that.
Thank you so much. The next question, I'm going to start with Beth Valentine, but Provost Link may also have some comments as well. Beth, faculty are now aware of the changing Title II regulations regarding digital accessibility for course documents. What is the institutional plan to address faculty workloads needed to make digital course documents accessible? Are there plans to make changes to the faculty contracts? Are there resources available to help faculty make these time-sensitive changes?
Thank you, VP Linda. So I am going to leave the questions about faculty contracts and workloads to Provost Link, but I can speak to resources. So yes, the regulatory deadline is coming up in April of 2026. And more importantly, we're doing this not just because of a regulation, but because of how important accessibility is to supporting our campus and to community. So I just wanted to get a shout out to Year of the Word of the Year. So what are we doing? Well, we have a digital accessibility working group and steering committee, and these committees have been working to prioritize items for attention, identifying campus needs, identifying resources, and doing a lot of work behind the scenes. Some resources that we already have on campus include TADA, the Teaching Transformation and Development Academy. They have great resources, as well as partnering with DeQ University for online pre-recorded trainings. I also want to remind people that they have accessibility tools kind of already built in at their fingertips, whether that be the Ally Checker or accessibility checkers in Word or PowerPoint. But we're always looking for feedback. So if you have any suggestions of additional resources, please feel free to reach out to myself or to Donna Smith, the ADA coordinator.
Thank you. Provost Link, do you have any insights regarding the question for faculty contracts?
Yeah, it's a great question and a reasonable one to ask. It's a difficult one to answer, of course. What we are asking, as we discussed at the Strive for 85 launch event just a week or so ago, is we are asking each faculty member to start to build accessibility into the courses they're going to offer in the spring of the 2026 semester, and to work as a community, as Beth was just speaking about, to get us to a place of towards compliance with the federal regulations in this matter. Every faculty member is different. The materials they use are different. The nature, the size of the lift is going to be different. So there is no institutional mandate or movement here in my office to make blanket adjustments to page 2s or faculty contracts. This is the world that we are in right now, both from a student success and opportunity standpoint and from a regulatory standpoint. So the ask is for everyone to start to build this into their workflow as we work towards the spring semester, so that we can make these courses available and accessible to all of our students starting this spring. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Provost Link, I'm going to send this next question to you as well. The question is, I was hoping to gain some insight regarding the turnover rate of academic advisors. Several students have shared common concerns with me that they have had a different advisor nearly every semester. And in some cases, they were unsure who their advisor was because the individual listed in the campus connection was no longer at UND. Could you provide any context around this, or let me know if there are steps being taken to address the issue?
I can't speak to any specific reasons why a certain advisor may or may not be with the university at this point. I do know that I think over the course of the summer, we had several advisors in the SASE operation follow other opportunities. But not all of our advising operation is within SASE. We have advisors that are in the colleges as well. This is the continuity of experience and the relationship of good advising to student progress towards degree. This is something that is always on our minds, and we are regularly talking about. Dr. Plum and I talk about this routinely. I've had conversations with deans about this. So we are always trying to be cognizant of the student experience that they are having at the university and trying to improve that experience. So what I can say to the question writer or anyone else listening, if students are struggling, if students are not getting the experience from an advising standpoint that they would like and that they need to be successful, we need to know that. So please encourage them to ask their questions. If they ask a question of a faculty member, let us know what those questions are so we can continue to improve the student experience on this campus. Thanks for the great question.
Thank you. The next question I'm going to send over to AVP Kibben. The plants in the medium on University Avenue are beautiful. However, it's difficult to see people crossing the street because the plants are so tall and there are the black pillars. The cross lights do help, but they aren't available at every crossing. Could you speak to what might be able to be done?
VP Linder, great question. Hadn't considered the visibility issues, but I do recognize that the plants on University do get rather tall. I don't have a direct answer for this meeting. I will visit with our landscaping crew between now and the next town hall, or if the question writer would send me an email, I will respond directly to them after visiting with Chad in the landscaping shop.
Thank you so much. The next question I'm going to turn to VP Malloy. This individual wasn't sure if they had missed the answer because their feed cut out, but is Pepsi ever coming back to campus, or are we now solely Coke?
That is a good question. Yes, I would anticipate that at some time Pepsi will come back to campus. However, it will not be within the next 10 years because the contract that we have with Coca-Cola is for 10 years. But just remember that Coca-Cola and Pepsi and anyone else who wanted to to participate in the procurement process had the opportunity to do so.
Thank you. Next question I'm going to send to AVP Barberg again. The question is, when will campus hear about the Huron findings related to faculty? We heard about the staff and the new staff architecture, but no update yet that they're aware of regarding the faculty findings.
That's a very good question. We have talked a lot about staff because that's where the lion's share of the work has been over the last year. However, we've done a lot of work on the faculty side. Most of that work was basically done, and then we had sort of a change from Coupa, from the market that we get generally most of our faculty in academic affairs, most of the faculty there. We had a change in their collection and the way they disseminated different positions. And so we needed to walk back to the provost and his team and talk about the options that we had. So we're working through that now. And I suspect when we talk about the end of the financial analysis and so forth, and the timing, that will include faculty also. So.
Excellent. Thank you.
And
Peggy.
if I may, VP Linder, there was one more question towards the end that talked about the website. And I will say that my office is now working with marketing communications to update that website, and I expect it will be updated in the next week or so.
Thank you. The next question is going to go back to Jennifer Duffy. The individual writes, I would love to take advantage of the economy lot, but the bus shuttle hours do not allow for me to put in a full day of work because they're 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Is there any talk about extending the UND shuttle schedules?
We have not discussed that recently. The shuttle there's an evening shuttle that goes later into the evening. I believe the 8 a.m. is probably where that concern is. We do work with the city of Grand Forks on our shuttle. It is something that we could look into and see if it is something that they are able to accommodate, and look at what the cost would be. I imagine even like a 15 or 30-minute change would probably help with that. So it's definitely something that we can look into.
Thank you. The next question I'm going to turn over to Chief Clark. Chief Clark, can you discuss the rule change that disallows e-bikes to charge in the buildings? We should be incentivizing, not discouraging, alternative transportation options on a car-centric campus where parking is often a concern.
Yeah, thank you, Vice President Linder, for the question. It's a pretty simplistic answer. The basis of the decision revolved around safety and charging lithium-ion batteries. There have been documented incidents where these lithium-ion batteries can catch fire and thus cause a safety concern to others in the building. It had nothing to do with discouraging people from alternative means of transportation or anything like that. And since this is a faculty and staff town hall, you would assume most of the people asking are faculty and staff, and the overwhelming majority live off campus. You should be able, in most cases, if you charge your device at home, to ride back and forth, in town every day. In those chances where you can't do that, I realize it would be a challenge, but again, the basis of the decision was safety and created a fire hazard or a toxic vapor hazard inside the building. So thanks for the question.
Thank you. The next question I am going to send to President Armacost. Oh, no, or actually, I think I'll send it over to Provost Lincoln. I'm sure President Armacost, you probably have some comments as well on this topic. It's exciting to hear about the commitment to support AI efforts on campus and be a leader in the state for this important area. However, it seems like some kind of clear leadership around these efforts is needed. This is overwhelming. Who are we supposed to go to for help in our classrooms? What about when students use it in ways that aren't allowed? What does this look like moving forward, and what investments are being made by UND to meaningfully support our commitment to AI? Provost Link, I'll let you start.
Yeah, this is a great question. It's a large question, and I'll start us off, and then I'll hand the microphone over to President Armacost to fill in some more details. And I would also welcome colleagues from TEDA and elsewhere if they would like to chime in as well. As everyone heard during the State of the Campus address just a few days ago, our commitment to AI is meaningful and significant on this campus. But it is a nuanced and a commitment, because we recognize that there are opportunities, but there are also challenges associated with the use of AI, say, in the classroom and so forth. I do know that TDA has a variety of helps and resources available. We also have some, I believe, I hope Randy will correct me if I'm wrong, but some developing sample syllabus language that the faculty could make use of on their faculty syllabi that may help them navigate the framework in which they want to embrace AI, and to what extent they might want to use AI within the classroom. So this is going to be an interesting year as we work towards kind of an exciting, enthusiastic, let's see what we can make of this new technology, while balancing that against the need for trainings and resources and guardrails when necessary to make sure that student learning is not compromised, and that the integrity of the academic work that we do is not compromised either. I'll stop there, but ask the president if he would like to say a couple words as well.
Thanks, Provost Lincoln. Thanks for the question. As we went through the legislative session, we had hopes for the legislature committing funding to support a statewide AI initiative, because K through 12, higher ed, employers all need access to some of these tools, which come at an expense. They have to have access to development, professional development and training. And so we went through this session hoping for good news. I think we'll have to take another swing at it next time. So because of that, our feeling is let's take it into our own hands and move out, because we've seen campus-wide the commitment to try to understand AI, what it means for our students, what it means for ourselves, but the cohesion needs to be put into place. So we've been working on a white paper to talk about structuring. How do you build a collaborative, or call it the UND AI collaborative, that pulls together researchers, educators, department leaders, college leaders, people across the campus to help organize and orchestrate all the activities across the campus, or many of the activities across the campus related to AI. And most importantly, provide an opportunity for everyone else to get involved and understand the direction that AI is heading and how it impacts us at UND. There's been work by UIT to get funding to support prototyping of tools like Copilot and ChatGPT on our campus, and we'll keep exploring ways to allocate that funding and get funding. But the professional development piece for each of our faculty and staff members is really important to allow you to do your jobs better, but also to help bring to our students an appreciation for AI and what it means to them. We're going to have to rely on public-private partnerships as well. Look for opportunities to partner with some of the AI system providers and see what they can do for making tools and opportunities available for us and for our students. So more to follow on the structure that we're putting forward. That's going to be coordinated here in the next week or two. But the UND AI Collaborative will be at the heart of this kind of community of work that's going to happen here at UND.
Well, President Armacost, we have a minute to the top of the hour. Would you have any closing remarks for us?
Let me thank everybody for the great questions. As I said earlier, your input to the future of this campus matters. I know I and the leadership here listen very carefully, and we will seek solutions to those vexing problems that you raised, and to take your great insights into account as we make decisions for the good of the university. Congratulations on the start of another great semester here at UND. I look forward to seeing you out and about on campus at sporting events, at musicals, at whatever events we can be at together. Make sure you come up and say hi to Kathy and me. We'd love to see you, and enjoy the semester. Thanks so much for tuning in today.